My radical positions are that we have to protect every single person and that we have enough wealth and enough power to do so. So cute, my little Hasanito. Let's just do this for the one time, all right?
The party do so good. And now I'm going to tell you something that very few people in Congress would tell you.
My fucking goat. Still.
If you are the Republican...
He's my goat still. We might have our disagreements, but, you know, I still love him. I will never forget his contributions to the progressive movement broadly in the United States of America. He will always have a special place in my heart, okay? You got to respect your elders, chat. And myself included in that process, by the way. I am your fucking elder at this point. It's a little self-serving of me, an old guy. To say such things, but I mean it.
Leadership, and this is what your goals are. Your goals are to give huge tax breaks to the very richest people in this country. Your goals are ultimately to privatize Social Security so that Wall Street can make money from that. Privatize Medicare so the insurance companies can make more money. Privatize education. Do away with public schools. If those are your goals and you said that to the American people, you think you get a lot of lower? There are many members of the Congress today, Republicans, who not only will not raise the minimum wage, which is $5.15 an hour, you know what they will tell you, honestly? They believe in abolishing the minimum wage. Did you know that? Check it out. Telling you the truth. So that if Americans can work for $3 an hour or $2 an hour, not a problem. Now, if you had an agenda like that and you went before the American people,
I gotta pee.
Tax breaks for the rich, destruction of Medicare, destruction of Social Security as we know it, lowering the minimum wage or abolishing it, how many votes do you think you'd get? Not a whole lot. Maybe the richest 1% would vote for you. But that's not a lot of votes. So what do? I've got a problem. You package it. How do you package it? And here's, I want you to pay attention to me. Because this is bad stuff. I don't mind debating people who say, I was on the Hannity show, Sean Hannity yesterday, and Hannity, extreme right-wing guy, he thinks he loves these tax breaks for the rich and so forth, so we had a little bit of a discussion about that. Actually, it was a loud discussion, matter of fact. But I don't mind people who are upfront about that. Okay, give the rich more tax breaks, we can argue that. But that doesn't win you elections. So this is what you do. What you do is divide people up. When you asked me your question, how do I get elected? I said, I try to bring people together. We fight for women's rights. We support the rights of minorities. We support the rights of workers. We bring the majority of people together. And occasionally, honest people will have differences of opinion. In this room, there will be differences of opinion. But everybody in this room is in agreement that everybody should have health care, right? Question number 2, should we increase funding for education or should we lower funding for education? Raise your hand if you think we should increase funding for education. Okay, you're on the side of the vast majority of Americans. Okay. So on those issues, we bring people together. Now, what do the Republicans try to do? And they use it in what we call, kind of language that they not upfront about. What do? We divide people up by races. Affirmative action becomes one issue. All them black people are getting the jobs that we white people used to have. Split people, working class, white against black. Instead of working together to create decent jobs for all. Those uppity women now, they want the right to choose. We'll split people on the abortion issue. We'll split people up on the gun issue. We'll split people up on religious issues. You follow what I'm saying? So you split people up, and then they end up, if you're a middle-class person, voting against your own interests, and the rich go laughing all the way to the bank. Okay? And they very often play white workers off against everybody else. And we try to bring people together to say, look, we're all in this boat together, whether you're black or white, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're Muslim, whatever you may be. Everybody needs health care. How do we create a health care system that works for all people? Not divide people up. Everybody knows that the kids, young people, do not make it into the middle class unless they have a decent college education. So how do we make college education accessible to all people? Not an expensive proposition, a tiny, tiny fraction of the president's tax breaks for the rich, if we put into financial aid, would make sure that every young person in this country could go to college without going deeply into debt. You know what? The vast majority of the people support us. But in order to do that, we've got to bring everybody together. And many of these, not all, and I'm not here to disparage all Republicans. Some very decent people happen to be conservative. I respect that. But some people who I don't respect will play off women against men, black against white. Oh, the gay issue, very, very big issue. Okay?
If you want to be right and too early, be a leftist. Okay? That's it. A lot of people will yell at you, but then maybe many decades later, people will look back fondly at the things you said for decades. Okay? People will look back and be like, huh, this seems like oddly prescient.
Straight against gay.
Of course, being right too early is, in many instances, being worse. I mean, it's worse than being wrong all the time. Being right too early, in many instances, is worse than being wrong all the time. You fell off. I know I fell off big time, dude. It's Jover. My career is Jover. I need to do a right-wing pivot instantly. I'm going to start talking about how, like, I'm going to start watching Tyler Oliveira videos and agreeing with them and finally fucking cave and become a right-wing content creator. It's over. It's done.
Right? We're all supposed to hate gay people, so we split that group up. And then the argument, some of us are not patriotic. We had concerns about the war in Iraq. I voted against giving the president authority to the war in Iraq. Well, that makes us unpatriotic. We hate America. Divide those things up. And that's how they succeed. And they succeed with the help of the media. Because the media will not talk about how, in a sense, the common problems that Americans face and how we bring people together. And that's what I believe. I believe that on issues like everybody in this room thinks, I think, that instead of giving tax breaks to the rich, we should increase federal aid to education. Anyone disagree with that? Well, you know what? Most Americans agree with that. All of you think that every American should be entitled to health care. I suspect most of you think we should not have a trade policy which allows corporations to throw American workers out on the street and run to China. Most Americans agree with that. And our job is to bring people together on common interest. And some of these extreme right-wing people, you watch the issues that they talk about. Affirmative action.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch
divide.
this video.
The issue of abortion they use to divide. The issue of guns they use to divide. And our job is to say, let's focus on basic economic issues. How do we expand the middle class? This is a great country. Why is it the average American is working longer hours for low wages than 30 years ago? Let's talk about that. Okay?
Amsterdam local here, we're organizing a protest tomorrow in protest of the protest ban, and the municipality has instituted how NPR is contacting us to hear our perspective on it. Do you think we should talk to them? Yes, absolutely. Talk to them. Don't be antagonistic. Be clear in what your goals are. Maybe even mention the fact that, like, a lot of mainstream outlets unfortunately got the story wrong, and that the locals' opinions is not being represented, you know, something along those lines. But yeah, always talk to the media. I do it all the time. Any opportunity I have, I usually, in my insanely limited schedule, every opportunity I have, I still will always, I'll always stop and try to give some commentary, because I think it's important. I think it's important to be, I think it's always important to get your message out in front of an audience that has not heard it before. Okay? Mention the total editorial spins like the Sky News re-edit and the hive mind like condemnations filled with disinfo by liberal order world leaders. Yeah, don't say liberal order world leaders. Just be like, you know, we went out, we saw that these like hooligans were wreaking havoc, and people, of course, understandably pushed back against that. And it was kind of shocking to see how at odds Western press has been with like what actually unfolded. I always explain to people, like, know your audience, okay? Know who you're speaking to. Try to imagine how your message will be received, okay? Trojan horse your radical positions, if you know what I'm saying. It's your responsibility as the largest content creator on the left to grow much more than the 400 right-wing creators ahead of you. Yeah, but you always have to package it. And it's always funny because, like, I am very open about this. I'm very open about, like, constantly messaging to an audience and like knowing how that message will be received, which is why so many people will try to bastardize what I'm saying or clip it out of context in general. But the thing is, like, ultimately my radical goals are Medicare for all, free college, and end the wars globally, uplifting the working class internationally, allowing everyone to thrive. Like, these are not, I don't think that these are nonsensical, bad positions. The very fact that these positions broadly are considered evil or radical means that we as a society have completely dropped the ball on basic empathy, basic humanity. That's what it is. Because when you go to the extreme right, like, their position is literally, we need to forcibly exclude certain subsects of society and divide society on inalienable characteristics, traits that they cannot change about themselves, whether it's like religion, ethnicity, yada, 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 right? And maybe even forcibly expel them. On the extreme left, or at least where I'm standing, my positions are, my radical positions are that we have to protect every single person and that we have enough wealth and enough power to do so. But unfortunately, we are controlled by a system, that we exist under a system that refuses to do said things because of financial material interests of those who are at the tippy top of society, and a system that preserves their position. That I don't think that is like a super radical position. I don't think that that's a super radical, super scary position in the way that people try to say it is. We put the interests of corporate profits over the interests of people. I'm seeing stories like this all over the place. I don't know how to get Bernie/leftist message to people and make them believe it. Did you vote? Yes, for Trump. Not trying to get my taxes raised. You're a hostess at Outback. I mean, this seems like a meme overall, but yeah, there are a lot of people who think that way. Yes, there are a lot of people who think that way. American brains are broken. American brains are completely fucking broken, okay?
天上太阳风呀风风风嘞，心中太阳是毛泽东嘞，看看你的我们的职业班嘞，这里本身上。